20,000 people packed into a building designed for Luka Dončić, all humming the same highlight reel in their heads. Caitlin Clark from the logo, Paige Bueckers firing back, a generational duel under NBA lights. They paid resale prices that would make playoff ticket brokers blush. They refreshed social feeds for tunnel walk photos. They told friends they were about to witness the game that would break the WNBA. Then every phone in the arena vibrated at once. Caitlin Clark out, groin strain, opening gasp, collective groan, and a hush that felt like the electricity was suddenly 3 degrees cooler. The matchup of the year evaporated, yet nobody left. Because fandom, like fire, changes form when you try to smother it. And what those fans saw instead might be the night Indiana Fever history quietly pivoted. But first, how did hype inflate so large that even bad news couldn't pop it?
Months earlier, Dallas team execs stared at ticket interest trackers ticking upward the second the league schedule dropped. Clark versus Bueckers was penciled for a 7,000-seat College Park Center. Cozy, loud, but suddenly way too small. One executive pitched the NBA arena downtown, another worried it would look half empty on national TV. The finance guy ran numbers, gulped, then ordered a date hold anyway. The gamble worked so fast it looked obvious in hindsight. 48 hours after public release, every seat in American Airlines Center carried a barcode. Secondary markets doubled, then tripled. Hashtags morphed into travel itineraries. Fever fans in tiny Indiana towns booked first ever flights to Texas. Dallas homers loaded Venmo to scalp last-minute seats, and a surprising slice of neutral hoops nerds just wanted to say, "I was there." A single game moved more merch online than some franchises moved in a month. Even the Wings arena staff sensed it. Ushers requested extra shifts. Beer vendors pre-chilled double stock. The PA team cleared new video board hype reels. They expected fireworks. They got an unexpected plot twist. The official injury report hit social at 11:24 a.m. local time. Clark experienced tightness after shoot-around, out for precautionary reasons. No one outside Indy's training room knew whether the pain rating was a 3 or an 8. It didn't matter. Vegas flipped the line, podcasters rewrote intros, and Wings fans danced down the concourse predicting a blowout. Inside Indiana's hotel ballroom, Coach Stephanie White gathered a team still stinging from a 29-point Los Angeles beatdown the night prior. She didn't sugarcoat reality. Nobody believes we can score without Caitlin, and yesterday we proved them half right. Pause. Then she slapped a fresh whiteboard on the easel and drew Ari McDonald, starter, in fat black Sharpie. McDonald is 5'6" on a tall hair day, but her first step feels like a slingshot release. White's message was clear. If Dallas spent 3 days scripting how to suffocate Kelsey Mitchell in ball screens with Clark, then Indiana would hand them a brand new puzzle. The gamble would ignite faster than even White imagined. Opening tip, 8 seconds, McDonald slips a screen, whips lefty to Aliyah Boston, layup, whistle, one-hand fist pump. Possession 2, she pokes a lazy dribble, outruns Paige Bueckers, flips glass off the wrong foot, bucket. The Fever starts 7 for 7, scoreboard blinks 14-2, and a TLC crowd mutters in nervous unison. Boston, unchained from double teams that usually peel off Clark's gravity, spread her wings. Soft baby hooks, catch high, finish higher layups, even a 15-footer that barely brushed net. In 6 minutes, she had 8 points, matching her total from the entire ugly loss in LA the night before. Meanwhile, Dallas defenders kept bumping into ghosts. Their scout mapped hedge and recover angles on Clark pick and rolls. The new map featured McDonald turning corners before the bigs could slide. When the first quarter horn sounded, Indiana led 33-13, shooting 74%. Fans who'd flown to watch Clark's rainbow threes found themselves hypnotized by a blitzkrieg built on speed, sharing, and fearless role players. The night's promise wasn't dead, it had simply shapeshifted.
Great players hate being side characters.
Mid-second quarter, Bueckers jabbed baseline, saw daylight, and canned a hanging reverse like she'd been storing it for emergency use. Next trip, step back from the left wing. Splash! Steal, transition, no-look dime, crowd finally on its feet. By halftime, she was on a 14-point heater, but her real magic hid in the tiny print. 0 turnovers. Bueckers plays like she grew up closing crowded New York City subway doors. Every decision is precise, accelerated, and somehow smooth. She'd finish the night with 27-5-2-2-0, a stat line never printed before in league history. Natasha Howard muscled in a putback. Rookie Misha Hinden rattled a corner three. Deficit cut from 22 to single digits, and Fever fans sensed a horror sequel: the LA collapse. If momentum were humidity, you could feel it stick to every jersey. The crowd roared louder with each Wings bucket, and for the first time all night, Indiana's shooters looked momentarily unsure. The building's oxygen had flipped colors. 48 hours earlier, in California, the Fever melted when the lead shrank. Body language drooped, shots flattened, communication died. Coach White studied that tape on the 2 a.m. red eye and vowed if a similar storm hit, they'd respond differently. Tonight the storm hit at 6:38 left in the third. Dallas within 6, house shaking. White didn't burn a timeout. Instead, she barked one word: connect. It wasn't a tactic, it was a reminder. On cue, Kelsey Mitchell ripped through on the right wing, rose for a 16-footer, pure nylon. Possession later, McDonald sprinted off a drag screen, collapsed the defense, kicked to Lexi Hull, corner triple, splash! 6 quick points felt like a fire blanket on hot coals. Dallas answered again. Indiana answered louder. The difference from LA? Intent. Every Fever possession had a North Star. Drive fast, decide faster, trust the next pass. The scoreboard wobbled, but never flipped. Still, the Wings refused to vanish. Something or someone had to slam the door.
Mitchell lives in a permanent green light zone, but she also reads the room. Early, she'd space to let McDonald thin the paint. Later, she'd flip to playmaking mode when Dallas overloaded traps. But crunch time? Crunch time is for killers. 4:02 remaining. Fever cling to 5. Mitchell dribbles left, snatches the ball behind her back, steps back so fast Hinden's shoes squeal, buries a triple that made even neutral fans gasp. Next possession, Dallas hedges high. Mitchell freezes the defender with an in and out, slides a wraparound to Boston, power layup plus foul. 30 seconds later, she walks the ball up, fake handoff, stops on the hash mark, rainbow rises, nothing but string. In exactly 4 minutes, she scored 9, assisted on 5, and stole 1 lazy wing entry. By the time her flurry cooled, the scoreboard read Indiana 92, Dallas 84, 20,000 people sitting in stunned, loud silence, a weird simultaneous noise only large arenas can generate. Mitchell's final line: 32 points on 65% shooting, 7 assists, 0 tunnel gloating. She walked back on defense, already scanning the next threat. The buzzer expired, handshakes completed, and the Jumbotron cut to the on-court interview. Reporters tried to coax cliches. How did you overcome the adversity? What does this mean without Caitlin? Boston, still breathing hard, glanced up at clusters of red Navy jerseys sprinkled through teal seats and spoke 6 syllables that detonated online. Every game is a home game. It wasn't marketing polish, it was observation. Fever fans had out-cheered locals during key runs, their chants echoing louder because shock quieted Dallas cheers. The line ricocheted off TikTok edits, spliced over slow-mo dunks, tweeted by NBA analysts, quoted in next-day newspaper columns. Within an hour, the team store reported a 300% spike in Boston jerseys. Within 6 hours, hashtag #HomeGameEverywhere trended across sports Twitter. What started as a throwaway crowd compliment became a doctrine. Indiana's fan base doesn't stay put. They import home court advantage. That idea stuck harder than any stat. Stats expire, identity lingers.
For Indiana, the win leveled their record at 8-8, but more important, it shattered the narrative that they fold without Clark. They discovered McDonald's nitro speed, Mitchell's closer instinct, Boston's unleashed dominance, and Lexi Hull's sneaky 51% 3-ball. When Clark heals, Indiana can either reinstall her as heliocentric sun or weave her into a multi-planet orbit. Either choice terrifies scouting departments. For Dallas, the Wings prove they can sell out an NBA venue. Ticket office spreadsheets now have real ammo to lobby ownership for a permanent downtown move. They also received a harsh truth. Roster depth is non-negotiable against emerging super teams. For the WNBA, one injury ironically demonstrated the league's resilience. A superstar scratched and 20K still showed, merch still moved, broadcast numbers still popped. Television execs love star power, but they might love brand power more, and the Fever's traveling circus looks like a cash cow in sneakers. For everyone else, social discourse turned to player safety, load management, and refund ethics. Some angry Facebook posts argued that fans got robbed of Clark, others replied that they'd gladly pay twice to watch the game they witnessed. The clash itself kept the story alive through the news cycle's Sunday doldrums, which is pure algorithm fuel. When sports writers label moments season-defining, they usually point to buzzer beaters or trophy lifts. Sometimes though, the hinge is quieter. An injury report, a coach's gamble, a stretch of perfect possessions, a 6-word quote that feels tattoo-ready. Indiana entered Dallas as a one-story team, amazing rookie, hopeful supporting cast. They left as something layered, a Road Warrior fanbase, a multi-dimensional offense, and a looming question nobody in April thought to ask. What happens when Caitlin Clark returns to a squad that no longer needs saving? Maybe she catapults them into title contention, maybe her reintegration costs rhythm. Maybe we get the rarest outcome, multiple offensive identities toggling like gears on a sports car. Whatever the answers, you can bet the next marquee matchup will sell out even faster, because curiosity is the league's new MVP. So if you felt that shift, if you caught yourself cheering for players you couldn't name last month, type Fever Rising in the comments. Slam subscribe for the next deep dive, ring the bell, and keep a suitcase ready, because if Aliyah Boston's right, the next home game might be in your city, and missing it could be the real regret.